for Conservative politics. The coalition has already lost moderate inner-city seats to the Teals and is now seeing its right flank splintering as well.
Well, the coalition is now so bad that not even Barnaby Joyce wants to hang around them.
A man who once served as Deputy Prime Minister, now seeing a sunnier future with a protest party.
One Nation MP Barnaby Joyce calls for PM to be removed from role. Good day, political drama enthusiasts. Imagine waking up, pouring your morning coffee, and discovering that Barnaby Joyce, yes, that Barnaby Joyce, has decided that calling for the Prime Minister's head on a platter is just another casual Sunday activity. And here is the absolute kicker: he did it at an Australia First rally, standing shoulder to shoulder with One Nation. If you were thinking this sounds like a political fever dream written by someone who binged too many episodes of House of Cards, welcome to Australian politics in 2026, where reality has officially become stranger than fiction. Quick favor, if you are loving this chaos, hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell to keep getting the latest updates on politicians around the world. Cheers if you did. Now, back to the show. Let us set the scene, shall we? Barnaby Joyce, former Deputy Prime Minister, former Nationals leader, and a man whose political career has had more comebacks than a 90s boy band, took to the stage at an Australia First rally in Sydney. Now, for those playing at home, Australia First is not exactly your mainstream political gathering. This is the fringe of the fringe, the political equivalent of that weird aisle at the supermarket you only venture down when you are feeling particularly adventurous. And there was Barnaby, in all his glory, calling for Prime Minister Anthony Albanese to be removed from office.
With people such as Pauline, I think I have a fellow traveller, and I have great respect for the work that Pauline has done.
It's a big plus for the party to have Barnaby.
The former Nationals leader resigned from the party a week ago after a sandwich-pressed steak with Senator Hanson, finding a new political home that shares his views on curbing immigration and abandoning the race to renewable energy.
To be more effective, I have to find a more effective way to do my job for the people of New England.
Though long expected, Barnaby Joyce's defection to One Nation represents a seismic shift.
Audacity, the drama, the absolute box office entertainment value. But here is where this gets properly interesting. Barnaby Joyce aligning himself with One Nation and groups like Australia First represents a seismic shift in Australian Conservative politics. This is not some backbencher looking for 15 minutes of fame. This is a former Deputy Prime Minister, someone who was literally a heartbeat away from running the country, now throwing bombs from the political fringes. It is like watching a former CEO start hanging out at underground fight clubs. You cannot help but ask, mate, what happened? Let us rewind a bit and talk about Barnaby's journey to this moment, because honestly, it has been a wild ride. Joyce was once the face of regional Australia, the champion of farmers and rural communities, a political heavyweight who commanded respect even from his enemies. He led the Nationals, served as Deputy PM under Malcolm Turnbull, and was considered one of the most influential politicians in the country. Then came the scandals, the leadership spills, the personal controversies that dominated headlines for months. His political star dimmed significantly, and many wrote him off as yesterday's news. But Barnaby has proven time and time again that he is nothing if not resilient, like a political cockroach that simply refuses to die. And now, he is back, reinvented as a populist firebrand willing to say what others will not. Now, let us talk about what actually went down at this rally. According to reports, Joyce addressed a small crowd, and when I say small, I mean we are not talking Woodstock numbers here, folks. But do not let the size fool you. What matters in politics is not always the volume but the message, and boy, did Barnaby have a message. He reportedly laid into Albanese's government with the subtlety of a sledgehammer at a china shop, criticizing everything from economic management to foreign policy to what he perceives as an abandonment of Australian values. The crescendo of his speech? A direct call for the Prime Minister to be removed from his role. It is the political equivalent of flipping the table at a family dinner. Dramatic? Absolutely. Effective at getting attention? You bet. But here is the thing that makes this so deliciously complicated. Joyce is not technically a One Nation MP, despite what some headlines might suggest. He is still officially a member of the National Party, sitting in federal parliament representing New England. However, his appearance at events associated with One Nation and Australia First signals something significant. The traditional boundaries of conservative politics in Australia are breaking down faster than a cheap tent in a storm. The fact that a former Deputy PM feels comfortable sharing a stage with far-right groups tells you everything you need to know about how fractured the conservative movement has become. It is like watching your uncle at Christmas dinner suddenly start agreeing with your conspiracy theorist cousin. Uncomfortable? Yes. Fascinating to watch? Also yes. The timing of this outburst is worth examining too. Albanese's government has been copping criticism from multiple angles lately. Cost of living pressures are crushing Australian families, energy prices are through the roof, housing affordability is a joke that stopped being funny years ago, and there is a general sense that the government is not delivering on its promises. Joyce is tapping into that frustration, that anger, that sense among many Australians that their politicians are out of touch with their daily struggles. He is positioning himself as the voice of the forgotten, the champion of ordinary Australians who feel betrayed by the political establishment. It is classic populism, and whether you agree with him or not, it is undeniably effective political theatre. What makes this particularly spicy is the reaction from Joyce's own party. The Nationals have been trying desperately to maintain their image as a responsible, mainstream Conservative party. They want to appeal to regional voters without alienating moderate city dwellers. They need coalition partners to take them seriously. And then here comes Barnaby, like a bull in a china shop, or more accurately, like Barnaby in any shop, causing chaos and making headlines that absolutely nobody in Nationals headquarters wanted to see. You can almost hear the collective groan echoing through Parliament House. It is like when your embarrassing relative starts talking politics at the pub, except this embarrassing relative used to run the country. Let us also address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the Barnaby in the rally. What does he actually want to achieve here? Is this a genuine political movement, or is it a revenge tour? Is Joyce positioning himself for another leadership tilt, or has he simply decided that being a chaos agent is more fun than playing by the rules? The man has always been unpredictable, but this takes it to another level entirely. Some political observers reckon he is trying to pull the coalition further right, to drag mainstream Conservative politics towards the populist fringes. Others think he is just enjoying the attention and the freedom that comes from having nothing left to lose politically. Either way, it is compulsive viewing. The broader question here is what this tells us about the state of Australian democracy. When former senior ministers are appearing at fringe political rallies calling for the removal of elected prime ministers, something fundamental has shifted. We are seeing the same trends that have upended politics in America, Britain, and Europe: the rise of populism, the fragmentation of traditional parties, the breakdown of political norms, and the increasing appeal of outsider rhetoric even from ultimate insiders like Joyce. It is like watching a slow-motion car crash where everyone knows what is coming but nobody can quite look away. Albanese's response, or lack thereof, is also telling. The Prime Minister has largely brushed off Joyce's comments, which is probably the smart play. Engaging with fringe criticism often just amplifies it and gives it legitimacy it does not deserve. But ignoring it completely risks looking out of touch or dismissive of genuine concerns that Joyce is exploiting. It is a delicate balance, like trying to walk a tightrope whilst someone is throwing shoes at you. Not easy, not pretty, but absolutely necessary. What is fascinating is how this plays with Joyce's base. For his supporters, this appearance reinforces everything they love about him. He is willing to say what others will not, he does not care about political correctness or establishment approval, and he is fighting for what he believes in regardless of consequences. For his critics, it confirms everything they have always suspected: he is an opportunist who will align with anyone, say anything, and blow up any norm to stay relevant. Both sides have evidence for their positions, which is what makes Joyce such a polarizing figure. The Australia First rally itself deserves scrutiny too. These events attract people who feel completely abandoned by mainstream politics, who reckon that neither Labor nor the coalition represents their interests anymore. Some have legitimate grievances about globalization, immigration, or cultural change. Others are attracted to conspiracy theories and extreme rhetoric. Joyce appearing at such an event gives these movements credibility they would not otherwise have. It is the political equivalent of a celebrity endorsement, except instead of selling sneakers, he is lending his name to movements that many consider dangerous to democratic norms. So where does this leave us? Australian politics is clearly entering a new phase, one where the old rules do not quite apply anymore, where former deputy prime ministers feel empowered to call for prime ministers to be removed at fringe rallies, and where the lines between mainstream and extreme are getting blurrier by the day. Barnaby Joyce is either a canary in the coal mine warning us about what is coming, or he is actively pouring petrol on fires that did not need any help burning. Possibly both. Thanks for watching, everyone.